Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. It's round 8 of the 15th season and we're at Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. My name is Justin and joining me once again, it's Andy.
Good evening folks, it's great to be here at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It really is a favourite amongst fans, drivers and commentators alike. It promises to be another thrilling race. Can the Flying Finn make it 15 wins in a row, or is someone finally going to topple him? It's going to be a good race, isn't it, Justin?
Yeah, it's a track that definitely promotes overtaking. Certainly down the Kemmel Straight is going to be the primary location where I expect to see most of the overtaking. We're on board now with VSR Simon. We're having a look at the Renault driver of VSR Simon. He was the first out on track, so he will get the honors of being the first on the stream to set a lap. And we'll just have a look at that Renault as he makes his way through the extremely famous set of corners, through Eau Rouge, through Raidillon. I'm not going to be doing any, you know, oh, that's Raidillon, not Eau Rouge type stuff, so you don't have to worry about that from me, Andy.
Yeah, superb sequence of corners, that Eau Rouge and Raidillon. It really does separate the men from the boys, especially in the old days, but in these 2017 cars, absolutely flat through there. It's actually fair to say, isn't it, Justin, that Pouhon is the more challenging corner these days. Is that something you would agree with? I'm sure most of the drivers would say so. It's, you know, it's flat out Eau Rouge. Pouhon, it's more difficult to get the line right and continue your momentum through, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Pouhon, and you know, for people that have been following my commentary for a while now, they will know that I love high-speed corners where you're just holding that wheel for a long time, and that absolutely describes Pouhon. That is what Pouhon is all about, and yeah, I love it. You know, it's not completely flat out. You need a little bit of stab of brakes, you need a little bit of downshift, and it's all about bravery. And you can run wide off, but you will lose time. It is an asphalt runoff at the exit of the corner, but you will absolutely lose time just because of how long the corner goes on for. It's like Luffield, but at 160 miles an hour.
It sure is, and now we watch Simon go through that famous Blanchimont corner and now down into that bus stop, the hard stop. Again, another area of the circuit where we are likely to see some overtaking as Simon, whoa, all out of shape coming out of there and across the line and does a 1 minute 43.5, his first time on the board. Now we are expecting, I've spoken to the drivers as I do every week about the potential pole time. Now frame rates, some people say because of the frame rate maybe a 42.5, others saying it will be lower than that, potentially a 42.3, 42.2, that will be enough. Sorry, 42.3 or a 42.2, something like that would be enough for the pole. But immediately, Surprise has dipped into those 42s with a 42.999. Now, he has been a driver, isn't he, Justin, that has emerged as a real contender, a real star of AOR F1 on the Xbox, and maybe, just maybe, he could be the man to stop the Flying Finn winning a 15th race in a row. He was so close to doing it last week, of course, in Hungary. Half a tenth between them. Is he the man? Well, he started well, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's so close, as you said, in Hungary. Extremely close. The two Ferraris completing their laps now. Evo goes fourth quickest with a 143.2. Limitless just about matches him, also with a 143.2. But the Flying Finn goes quickest of all, but only half a tenth quicker than Surprise Me. So the Flying Finn goes quickest with a 142.950. Quickest of all so far with 12 times on the board so far. Reynolds more so. Gouch Crab still in the pits. Hamilton and Martin yet to set a time. And Hamilton and Martin, of course, are going to be two of the faster guys. Limitless definitely just picked up a bit of a toe off of his teammate there down the Kemmel Straight, and he's still on max fuel mix with 1.5 laps remaining as he comes out of the Lake Home section. So I think Limitless is going to be on for a second lap running, which is interesting because this is such a long lap. Will he be able to do this lap, get back in time, and fit another set of tires to do a second or a third run, I guess, in his case? I think he will, though. I think he will have enough time. 6 minutes remaining in qualifying.
Will be marginal as we watch the Ferrari fly through the Pouhon corner and now into that Fania chicane, and Limitless, of course, on the wheel nowadays, or so we think. We did think back on that F1 esports race that he was on the wheel, but controversially chose the pad when he won by all that distance. But of course, that's all that matters. He's through, of course, to that pro draft, and he'll be looking to do very well there as well. But if we keep an eye on Limitless, is he going to pick up another toe here, Justin? Maybe, or no? No way, not an AOR F1 Xbox. There's no way anyone else is going to give you a toe. They all fight for themselves, and Limitless coming down to that bus stop chicane. What can he do? Is he going to complete the lap, locking up ever so slightly? No, he's not. He's coming into the pits and he has done enough. So 5 minutes to go in the session. Flying Finn on top by half a tenth to surprise me. Not much in it. OMG, it's Joe as well, only a tenth away, and that's a solid effort from him, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually really surprising. OMG, it's Joe, not typically featured in the top 3 in qualifying, I would say. TRL Martin did end up slotting into 4th position, so as I mentioned earlier, definitely one to keep out for there. But also, Pinecone in the Haas in 5th position as it stands right now, just over 2/10 off of the Flying Finn's time. But again, this is still early days. Everybody is going to fit a new set of those Ultra Softs, go back out on circuit and see if they can go that little bit quicker, which we expect they will. It's usually been about a few tenths or so that they find in the second set of runs that they do later on in qualifying. That's sort of the trend we've seen throughout season 15, and I expect that'll probably continue, and then some, due to the long nature of this circuit. So we may even see 4, 5, 6 tenths get found potentially. So we could be looking into the mid 42s, maybe even low 42s.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was speaking to the drivers. They said that around a 42.7 to a 42.9 for a first run is good going. So they're not far away from that with the Flying Finn's effort. I did expect them to be a little bit quicker than that as a whole, but maybe not quite dialed in at this stage. But just to put things into perspective, how good that effort is from Joe. I mean, he's got 1 point so far this season, a 10th position in the 3rd race of the season. So that gives you an idea of how surprising that is to see him just a 10th away from the Flying Finn up there. So good effort from him, and as you say, Pinecone as well. But work to do for Evo. The last thing he wants to be doing is finding himself with a lot of work to do down in 6th place, because of course, if you remember back in Hungary, he was left frustrated following other cars for so long, wasn't he, Justin?
Yep, and also missing from this race is Alonso. I apologize if you mentioned that and I missed it, but yeah, I should mention that Alonso is missing from this race, so unfortunately he will be not scoring any points today. I'm on board with EVR more so because he just started a flying lap. He was one of those 4 drivers that didn't set a time in the first part of the session. He's decided to go out now with just over 3 minutes remaining. Didn't get a great run out of La Source, which of course you need a fantastic run out of La Source because all of that speed you carry out of turn 1, you're going to carry all the way through Eau Rouge, up Radion, and onto the Kemmel Straight as you activate the DRS and reach top speed well over 200 miles per hour already as we get down towards the Lake Holmes section, the right and then left and then right, onto the brakes into 4th gear for EVR more so, and staying over to the left-hand side in order to open up this right-hander as much as he possibly can. Looking pretty good on this lap, briefly up into 7th before dropping it back down into 3rd gear, actually, at the apex. Back up into 4th for to control the wheel spin at the exit of the corner. I would imagine that's what the drivers tell us. It's all about controlling the rear wheel spin. So often I see drivers going down a gear just for the apex and then straight back up again into whatever gear they were in before. A little bit of traffic. EVR Reynolds in the way for more so, but he gets out of the way pretty well into Sector 3 just about for the McLaren. And it's looking like a decent lap. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire with it. I don't know if he's going to be challenging the Flying Finn. It hasn't looked the tidiest. But then again, I'm not a Grand Prix driver.
Yeah, exactly. But if you say what you saw in turn 1 was him running so wide or making a bit of a hash of it, then it's going to be difficult to do so well, because it is, as you say, crucial just in that first corner. You're going to be on the throttle from that point all the way up to the Combe section of the track, so it is absolutely vital, and that's what's so frustrating about Spa. It can bite you in the first corner right away and your lap can be ruined. But here comes Merceau up to the line. What's he going to do? He moves up to 9th position, around half a second away from the pole time. He won't remain 9th because, as we expected, the times will tumble. So Merceau has gone into 9th position. Who else we got out there on a quick one at the moment, Justin? Let's have a little look. Is Pinecone on one? I think he is, heading down towards the end of that first sector. What's he going to do for the first sector? Is it a 30.0? It is a 30.0. And now he heads through the Lacombe section, currently 5th fastest. He will be hoping to stay there because that would be a superb result for him as he heads down into this revage corner. It's a tricky corner, this hairpin, isn't it, Justin? It's so easy to run wide and get it wrong. You need to hug it like your favourite granny, don't you? It's such a difficult corner.
Yeah, the change of elevation as well, too, because you're going downhill. The highest point of the circuit is at Lake Home. You can see that big hill at the entrance of Pouhon. That goes up to the Kemmel Straight. You can just see the elevation changes that are involved at Spa. And, I mean, of course, that elevation is more evident at Eau Rouge than anywhere else on the circuit. But and that's part of the characteristic. You know, that's part of the reason I think this this circuit is so fantastic. Pinecone did appear to make a bit of a mess of Stavolo there, so I think he might not get the best run on the rundown towards Blanchimont, so that's certainly not going to help him. Only 30 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. I think Pinecone just about might make it, and he does have 2 laps of fuel on board. He also does have a car ahead, though. That is TRL Martin, who was marginally quicker in the early run, so I'm not sure how much he's going to be holding up Pinecone, but he opens up the DRS for the run to the line, and he is going to stay 5th quickest. It is not an improvement. That's really not what you want to see. Again, you should be finding a few tenths in this second run. Oh!
And only 1,000 slower than the Flying Finn. Unbelievable. How close can you get to be toppling the Flying Finn? We do expect improvements nonetheless, but still, to be only 1,000th away, that must be agonising for him. To only be missing out by that. Surprises on another lap. We've got the Flying Finn on one, but who we got furthest round the racetrack at the moment on a quick lap? I'm picking up NLR Evil at the moment. He is on one, Justin. He's currently down in 7th, a man that's been on the podium more often than not this season. What can he do as he goes through the second sector, through Paul Frere, and look at Limitless. He goes to the top of the timesheets, a 1:42.8. That is the target then for Evil, for Finn, and for the rest. But here we go. Evil through Blanchimont corner, the Ferrari singing its heart out, and down towards the braking points. The Scuderia fans in the grandstands, the Tifosi waiting, hoping for a good lap from Evo as he rounds the bus stop chicane up to the line. Here goes NLR Evo. Is it enough for pole? You better believe it. 42.7, quickest of all, but we've got quicker guys out there, do we? What about the Flying Finn? What about Surprise Me, Justin?
Yeah, while that was going on, by the way, yellow flags out in Sector 2 and Sector 3. I think that was at Puan and at Campus, where we saw Danny M7 and LGS 469. I'm not entirely sure what went on there. But I believe it also affected OMG It's a Joe and VSR Simon. So all 4 of them not able to set another time. The Flying Finn opens up the DRS for the sprint to the finish line, and it is a 1:42.5, 2 tenths quicker than Evo. Martin pops up with a 1:42.720, going 13 thousandths quicker than the Ferrari of NLR Evo. But the Flying Finn takes pole position, and it doesn't look like there's any more cars to cross the line. No, that is a pole position for the Mercedes driver. The Flying Finn, he's got 14 wins in a row, and he will be on good form to make that 15 out of 15 for the upcoming race as he starts from pole position. It ended up not quite being as close as we hoped, and I know Andy and myself are certainly hoping to maybe see a different person up at the top. It was looking for a moment there that it might actually be Limitless.
The Limitless popping up out of nowhere, but in the end, the Flying Finn, he always seems to have an answer. He leaves his run super late, and on this occasion, once again, he had the answer. Look at that, 1:42.5. Well, with the frame rates, it was absolutely spot on, that 1:42.5. It wasn't any lower than that. And Martin joins him in the front row in that Force India, 1:42.7. Evo third, he even thought for a moment he had the pole position, and so did Limitless in 4th. But Ferrari running well there, aren't they, Justin? 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, and Simon will hold on to the 3rd row of the grid ahead of Surprise Me, so that's an interesting one. The Toro Rosso will start just ahead of his teammate CRL Rosberg from 7th. OMG It's Joe, again, in the end, not able to improve on his time, so he'll end up starting from 8th position. That's got to be frustrating, because again, he was right up there with the leaders during the first round of laps that were coming through, so I imagine Joe is pretty frustrated with that one. But we're going to head down to the grid now for the 8th round of this 15th season of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. And will it be 15 in a row for the Flying Finn? I certainly wouldn't bet against him, I'll put it that way.
I wouldn't bet against him, but there's one thing that is against him, and it's that pole position on the grid. I mean, usually it's the best place to start, but when you come out of the La Source and then head up the hill, that's a real opportunity for someone to get the jump, use the toe, and move back in front. So there are plenty of guys behind him. Martin, of course. You've got the 2 Ferraris of Evo and Limitless, all in position to strike on the Flying Finn. So we will wait and see. But, of course, Eddie's worked out last time out, didn't he, Justin, in Hungary, when he started on pole, but lost his lead in that first corner. So there's by no means he would be going to win the race. But 14 wins in a row, I mean, it's going to be hard to argue against him, as you say.
Yep, about 30 seconds from the start, we'll find out who the real leader is as we go down to the grid with 5 lights. The Flying Finn on pole position, looking for his 15th win in a row. The lights are out, and it looks like a good start for the leaders. In the background, a bit of jostling for position. The Toro Rosso of, I believe that's Rosberg getting involved. Oh, actually, both Toro Rossos getting involved at the front. The Flying Finn does manage to hold off CRL Rosberg. I think those timings are not correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those timings are not correct, but the Flying Finn does hold on to the lead as they go through Eau Rouge, though. That is going to be a heck of a slipstream for the Force India. They're already alongside. Here comes the Ferrari to make it 3 wide, possibly down the Kemmel Straight. Who is going to come out in the lead? It looks like the Flying Finn with the inside line. He's really hugging that too. Very defensive into the Lake Home section, and it looks like he will, in fact, no, Martin has gone around the outside at Lake Home and taken the lead of the race. Oh, and a 5-second stop-go penalty for Pinecone. That's got to be really frustrating for the Haas driver. He was looking so strong in qualifying, and that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, and there you go. That's what we spoke about just before the lights went out. It's all about that run up the hill, and there you go. Martin timed it to perfection. He used the outside line. He had the perfect toe, and through he went, sweeping past the Flying Finn into the lead. So Finn down a place with work to do. It's Evo in third. Surprise, it's a brilliant start up to 4th position. Limitless down 1 to 5th. Yep, unfortunately, just at the start of the race, we had some issues, of course, with the timing screens. Justin, what did you see?
Yeah, Leopard had a great view there of Limitless and Rosberg battling, but then Pinecone out of nowhere, just coming out of campus, just snuck up the inside of the Williams and took that 7th place position. So Pinecone looks to be on a bit of a recovery drive. He's hunting down Rosberg, but Leopard with a nice slipstream was closing at quite a rate of knots. In fact, I think he lifted off there. Rosberg goes defensive into the bus stop chicane. The Williams tries to get involved as well. Pinecone, though, holds on to the 7th place position, not able to take that 6th from Rosberg, though, as we start the 2nd lap of this Belgian Grand Prix, heading down towards La Source once again. Will we see any changes of position in the top 10? It doesn't look like it. No, Martin holds on to the lead, but it's less than 6/10 between him and the Flying Finn.
And tucked up behind him, he's going to shadow him all the way. He'll hope to remain within 1 second, of course, until that DRS was active on the 3rd lap. But
battle for 9th, by the way.
There.
Battle for 9th going on.
Battle for 9th. Let's have a look at that. Let's look further down and look at that. What a Joe. Hamilton and Joe. Look at Joe being squeezed right out towards the edge of the racetrack, trying to find a way through on the Kemmel Straight. You have to duck back to the outside, and now look at that round the outside. Is that Morso making a move?
Yep.
It is, and he is going to take that place. Is he inside line now for Joe? And he will hold on just about. But all sorts of jostling going on in the midfield, Justin. Exciting stuff, as always, in the AOR.
Oh my gosh, Danny M7 coming through. This is not a race for the claustrophobic, at least not for these lower points-paying positions, because, yeah, it got very, very tight there at the end of the Kemmel Straight and heading into that Lake Home section. Through Puan we go, and it looks like everybody's spread out ever so slightly. Danny M7, we didn't really even talk about him in qualifying because he had such a poor qualifying. Started from 14th position, has found a couple of positions, is now up into 12th. I'm currently showing that he's on the Super Softs. Is that correct? Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. Hamilton's on the Super Softs. Danny M7's on the Super Softs. EVR Reynolds is on the Softs right now, running around in 13th position. Sam F1, LGS, Cryo Lockdown, they're all on the Super Softs as well, too.
From 8th and 9th at the moment, we've got Leopard and Hamilton on those Super Softs on the attack of his teammate. Is he going to make a move? Leopard's having a look at Pinecone as they go into the brakes at the bus stop, but there's no change in the order so far there. But yeah, ultra soft tyre and to the soft, that is the likely strategy around lap 6 or 7 maybe. We'll see a change of tyres. Those outside the top 10, unsurprisingly, opting for a set of super soft tyres. They're going to run long, and Reynolds, who's in the pits now on those soft tyres, he won't be going long at all on them. I don't know why he's in the pits, but Hamilton up the hill, attacking Leopard. Is he going to make a move on his teammate? And Leopard, who performed so well last weekend in Hungary, not going as well this weekend as we have a retirement for Reynolds. He joins Simon on the sidelines as the two Williams go jostling up the hill through the Kemmel Straight towards the breaking point of Lecombe, and it looks like Leopard is going to cling on, but he's deep in the corner. And that will keep Hamilton on his toes. Now through the second part of Lecombe, through Malmedy, and now down the hill towards Ravage, and still Leopard defending like crazy. His teammate all over him like a rash, but Leopard luckily holding on. Meanwhile at the front, Justin, 2/10 between the top two.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I gotta switch back over there. I really want to watch that battle for the lower points paying positions, because that is really good stuff going on, but the Flying Finn is just a few tenths behind TRL Martin. It's one of the few times that the Flying Finn has not been leading a race in this season, so honestly, this alone is interesting enough just to see the Flying Finn having to deal with dirty air. Oh, that's an interesting camera view. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. Evo as well, really close within 1 second. So is Surprise Me as well. Limitless has dropped off that battle a little bit just outside of DRS range, as of course that's active now on lap 3. And then a pretty big gap down to Rosberg, Pinecone as well. So there's some pretty big gaps from 5th, 6th, 7th, that sort of range.
Finn all over the back of Martin. Martin not enjoying this, and it's just concertining the pack up behind. It's allowing Surprise, it's allowing Evo all to get there. Finn knows he has to get a move on. He's having a look into turn 1, but there's no way through, and he's going to have to bide his time a little. He can't just go diving in because he knows that Evo and Surprise are ready to pounce. It's lap 4 out of 22, and the front 4 are separated by absolutely nothing. Martin leads them through Eau Rouge, Flying Finn second and Evo in third. And now, is this the moment for the Flying Finn to make the move? He has the DRS open now, and Martin defends to the inside. He's going to force Finn to go the long way round. Here goes the Flying Finn. Is he going to take control of the lead of the Grand Prix? He sweeps round the outside of Martin and makes it stick. Martin's off the road, and Evo takes second, and Surprise Me takes third. Breathtaking stuff, Justin.
Yeah, and Evo is out for blood. He looks like he really wants to get past the Flying Finn as quickly as he can. He knows that he's extremely close right now, and you won't get many opportunities like this to try and take the lead. So he's going to try and stick with him through the corner with no name, down the hill towards Pouan, and this is, of course, very difficult to stick through at over 150 miles an hour, 170 at corner exit. I love how fast Pouan is. Surprised me, though, really just harassing that Ferrari. It's very difficult for Evo to focus on the Mercedes up ahead, but that's what he needs to do. He needs a great run out of Stavolo here if he wants to have any sort of chance of overtaking into the bus stop chicane, but I think he's going to be a bit too far back, even if he does get a good run out of there, which I believe he has done. In fact, he's pulled a little bit of a gap to Surprise Me. Yeah, it's 0.437 to Surprise Me, 0.354 to the Flying Finn. Evo is closing significantly. Let's go on board with the Ferrari driver. He is going to be right behind the Mercedes as they get into the braking zone for the bus stop chicane. Not quite enough to pull alongside, but of course he will get the benefit of the DRS here. He will get the slipstream on the run towards Eau Rouge, and I think we might see the Ferrari take the lead of this race here, Andy.
And this is why we love Spa. So many opportunities to overtake, and Flying Finn just cannot get away from NLR Evo. And here we go, Evo now climbing the hill. The prancing horse is galloping onto the tail of that Mercedes. Through Eau Rouge they go once more. Surprise Me as well, keeping tabs with him, but not really there at the moment. And here we go, Ferrari against Mercedes. Evo on the attack. Finn defends the centre of the road, leaves Evo indecisive, but he does finally choose the outside line. Is he going to take that place? He does. He sweeps past the Flying Finn, and with the DRS in use, it's that easy around a track like this, and he takes the lead.
That is beautiful.
Second again.
That's beautiful. That's an overtake that took, 30 seconds to complete. Really, that's an overtake that took almost an entire lap of Spa to complete, because I mean, it really is beautiful to watch something like that from Evo. I know it wasn't the most exciting overtake in the end. They didn't even need to go side by side, but that is the efficiency of Evo. When he does make the overtake, he definitively makes the overtake. There's none of this side by side for three corners business. He just gets right on through, and it's really impressive to see, actually. I mean, to see anybody overtake the Flying Finn is a massive achievement, and the way with which Evo dispatched the man that just won the last 14 races. Oh, and that's Joe in lockdown? Yeah, Joe is going very slow. I think he's got a puncture. Yep, Joe has a puncture, I think.
He might have an issue, but what happened was, Justin, they were going side by side through the final chicane, and on the exit, they collided with each other, banged wheels, and the two of them, luckily, were flush with their tyres against the wall and didn't damage their wings. So both of them bouncing off the barrier and losing some time as the pit stops begin to take shape. Evo, Finn, and Surprise Me all in, Justin. And this is why the pit stops are so crucial. And who is away first? Let's have a look.
The Ferrari will maintain the lead, but only just ahead of the Flying Finn. That was very close in the end. I think Evo got lucky there that there actually wasn't more traffic coming in at the end of lap 5 there.
We need to remember is a lot of these guys that started outside the top 10 are now running, of course, on the super softs, and they're going to be going long, so they could also interfere with the battle for the victory. So the likes of Limitless, Rosberg, who've stayed out the extra lap on those.
Martin's back too. Martin's back. He's right behind the Flying Finn.
There's a few people asking in the chat if Martin had sustained front wing damage. There's the proof. He did not sustain damage. He just chose the undercut. So Martin right back in the battle all of a sudden. And as you say, Justin, right on the heels of the Flying Finn and Evo. But interesting to see how much longer those guys on the super softs will stay out. Will they stay out long enough to cause a few issues for these guys to try and mix the order up a little bit? We do see, though, in AOR F1 that the guys on different strategies don't tend to fight too hard, but we'll keep an eye out. It's certainly a possibility to mix things up, isn't it?
Yep. Also, traffic is going to be a huge issue. Evo's now less than 7/10 behind Sam F1 LFC. And it's actually not a big gap up to Cryo Lockdown either. So if these super soft runners don't start pitting soon, which I don't think they will, I think they're probably going to try to go till at least lap 8 or 9, I would expect. I honestly can't say, but that's probably when I would start thinking if I start on the super softs. But yeah, so there's going to be definitely some traffic involved. In fact, I'm going to go on board with Evo. I was on board with Martin, just having a look to see if he was going to try and make anything happen on the Flying Finn, because he was very, very close as Finn came out of the pits, and Evo is very close to the back of the Sauber heading into the bus stop chicane, and the Sauber does not pit. So, like I said, the super soft runners, I think, are going to be going for at least a couple more laps here, and that could make the difference as far as who wins this race. So Evo did pick up the DRS off of Sam there on the run down towards turn 1 at La Source, but didn't actually complete the move. He's gonna have to stay behind on the run. He doesn't have the tire life difference to actually get by on the run down towards Eau Rouge. He will finally get the overtake here, but has the Flying Finn closed in? Not really, actually. So this might end up working out decently well for Evo, and let's see how nice Sam is to the Flying Finn here.
Perfectly for Evo. I mean, look at that. He's overtaking him right where you want to be doing it at the end of that straight. Now Finn is going to have to follow in an area of the racetrack where it's very difficult to make a move. So Evo with a real chance, and Finn knows it. Look, he's having a look up the inside at the Ravage of all places, and you know what? He's made it work. The Flying Finn, who was ruthless in his way past, surprised me last week, proving it again. That's why he's a 3-time world champion, Justin, and 14-time race winner in a row. Look at that, flying past Sam with a late diving move into Ravage. Yeah, and Martin is going to wish that he had a little bit of those overtaking skills as he got stuck behind Sam F1 on the run through Puan and into through the campus section as well. He's still stuck behind him. He'll probably get past into the bus stop chicane, but let's see, the Sauber is looking pretty good at exit. No, the Force India already closing in. I don't think he's going to get him before Blanchimont, but I do think he'll get the Sauber into the bus stop chicane. But look at the difference already. There's 1.1 seconds between Sam and the Flying Finn, and that's now going to be the gap between the Flying Finn and TRL Martin as he tries to go around the outside of the Sauber. It has worked out for him, and he does pick up the DRS beneficially for him, which could be just enough to close him into DRS range on the Flying Finn. He's just less than 5/10 outside of that crucial DRS range on that Mercedes, and I don't think he's going to pick up the DRS here on the Kemmel Straight, and that could be crucial for TRL Martin. He may have just fallen out of this this battle for the lead. Well, Evo, he's continuing to ask questions of the Flying Finn. He's kind of sprinted to nearly a second advantage on him, and now he's going to try and put another car between him and the Flying Finn. Here we go, on lockdown. Is he going to go past? He sure is. Another Sauber. Right round the outside with the benefit of the DRS for Evo. He's done that a couple of times and he does it once more. Next up on his radar is the LGS. Now, Flying Finn. Oh, a little mistake from Lockdown. Not a mistake, he's letting him go. Wow! So, Lockdown letting the Flying Finn through. So there you go. Interesting tactic there. He lets him go. Maybe Lockdown is just feeling the hype after winning that contest last week, and you know, he's just feeling very gracious to the Flying Finn. So who knows? But yeah, that was strange. He didn't really get out of the way for Evo. In fact, I think he just about went side by side with Evo into Lake Home. But yeah, he was very obliging for the Flying Finn. Of course, Finn is more than 1 second away from Evo, though, and we know how mechanical and precise Evo's driving can be. So it's going to be very difficult for him. But then again, the Flying Finn tends to just have that something extra in his pocket. Also, let's keep an eye on Martin here. He's now closed up to the back of Lockdown after clearing Sam F1 LFC and closing the gap to the next Sauber in line. And it looks like he's going to have to once again go around the
outside at the bus stop chicane of a Sauber. He's already done it once, though, so he's got good practice. He'll pick up the DRS for the start-finish straight once again, but I think he is, again, going to be out of range of the Flying Finn and picking up that crucial DRS off the Silver Arrows ahead of him. He's heavy onto the brakes with a bit of lockup into La Source, but again, 1.6 seconds between himself and Finn, but also, crucially, still 1.2 seconds between Evo and Finn.
As well as that, surprised me as well. Mickey was making a move at the same time as Martin there, and he made the move on Sam at F1 LFC, so that seems to be that then, unless of course they catch Danny and Hamilton before they stop. I don't think they will. Surely they'll be in at the end of this lap, so that will probably give Evo a sigh of relief. But there's a 4-second gap between Evo now and Danny, so you would think that would be that. So now it's going to be a straight fight between him and the Flying Finn, and maybe Martin surprised me, but it looks at the moment like it's between Evo and Finn. Is this finally the day that Evo topples the Flying Finn and his 14 race win streak? He's been so close. I think it was Azerbaijan he was the closest to doing it when he was leading for so long. Is this the day, Justin? Well, make sure you tune in, folks. A long way to go in this race, but at the moment Evo's got track position and he's in control.
Yep, and Finn does not have the DRS. He is very close, though. He's closed in about a 1/10.5 on the Ferrari, and there it is. He is within 1 second now of Evo. Let's actually go on board with the Flying Finn. Of course, no DRS on this back straight on the run to Blanchimont and out of Blanchimont down towards the bus stop chicane. Excuse me. So the Flying Finn won't get the benefit of DRS here, but he will get possibly a bit of slipstream. This is pretty far back, but I mean, these cars are going 200 miles per hour and with pretty heavy downforce, so he might be getting just a whiff of slipstream, and he does close to within 0.8 just about as they make their way through the bus stop chicane, and he does pick up the DRS. He is within 1 second on the Ferrari of NLR Evo as Hamilton is into the pits, one of those cars that went for a longer first stop. Sam as well, so I believe the only car yet to come into the pits yet in this race is Danny M7 currently leading.
Danny M7 stretching it out really long. Is he stretching it out long? How long is he going to go do this for? Is he going to try and go long enough for a set of the Ultrasofts? I wouldn't have thought so. Surely that would be way out of range of what would be possible. So
he's got clear air, so I mean, you know, he could try something like that.
We'll keep an eye on it. Certainly one to watch, and that will not please Evo one bit if that's what he's trying to do, because that will just back flying him into Flying Finn and Martin and surprise me. But Martin dropping off now the back of Flying Finn, 2.3 seconds, and it's quickly turning into a 2-horse race, Justin, isn't it?
Yeah, it really seems that way. Surprise. Closing up to the back of Martin, though, about 1.3 between the two of them. Limitless, less than 2 seconds off of the Toro Rosso, so, I mean, he's not necessarily out of this. It does look like it's going to be a dry race for this Belgian Grand Prix. Not really seeing any signs of precipitation or any threats of rain or anything like that, so it should be just the one-stop race for these drivers. And actually, hold up just a second. What tires are they on right now is what I'm wondering. Sorry, I'm changing the wrong thing. Okay, yeah, because it was showing Evo on Supersoft, so I just wanted to make sure that he hadn't gone for something strange there. But yeah, Danny M7 is on the Supersofts. The only car that started on the softs was, I believe, EVR Reynolds, who had a bit of a nightmare first lap and retired quite early. It looks like he did try to go for Supersofts in the end. Whoa, Flying Finn getting very close to the back of Evo there. It's not been a great sector for the Ferrari, and I think we might see an overtake attempt here, Andy.
We might. If Evo, if he didn't know Finn was there, he certainly knows now. He almost gave him a sweet tap through that corner. The only good news for Evo there was the fact that Danny came into the pits, but now he's under real threat as they head down towards Eau Rouge, and the Flying Finn moving into position. Is this the moment he takes a stranglehold of this race and drops Evo down to second place? Here we go. Evo going to get defensive. He's actually just defending the inside. He knows it's coming, and there's nothing he can do. The Flying Finn is surely going to breeze past on the brakes and take the lead away. The Flying Finn at the halfway stage of this race and the halfway stage of this season, Justin, moves through into the lead of this Grand Prix, but he's a little bit wide, and Evo is coming back as he into Ravage. Side by side, how often do you see this? And Evo is interested in fighting it all the way through the second sector. Now into No Name, and finally he has to concede. Great racing between the top two.
Yeah, No Name a bit off camber, so it's really, really difficult to go around the outside there. Certainly impossible to go around the outside at Pouhon unless you've got, I don't know, a 10-lap difference in tire life with the person that you're racing. So the Flying Finn does take the lead, but I'm not counting out Evo just yet. I thought he was suspiciously complacent during that overtake. He is currently sitting on plus 1.7 laps of fuel. The Flying Finn actually plus 1.8 laps of fuel, so the Flying Finn has taken the lead and also is doing a better job of conserving fuel, possibly though because he's been behind. He may have done a few laps in lean mixture with the benefit of DRS. I know that's a popular thing that drivers will do in order to save a bit of their fuel for later on in the race. Just pop it into lean, but still use the DRS. That way you don't lose any time to the car ahead, and you save yourself a little bit of fuel. It is into rich mix, though, for Evo on the sprint down towards La Source. Heavy onto the brakes, a bit of a lockup for the Ferrari. He needs a good exit, of course, out of turn 1 in order to line up the Mercedes into Lake Home, and it hasn't been the best of exits for NLR Evo. CRL Hamilton setting fastest lap with a 146.6. That's a very quick time, actually, for the Williams driver. And out of Eau Rouge comes the Ferrari. He's already closing in on the Flying Finn, to be honest. He activates the DRS. I don't even think he needed the DRS. And the Flying Finn does actually go defensive. Evo does have, he is just narrowly ahead. They're going to stay side by side through Lake Home, but Finn with the inside line through the right-hander, that should be enough to hold on just about, especially if he goes defensive into this downhill right-hander. Surely that will be enough to keep the Ferrari at bay, and it looks like it has. However, all that side-by-side battling has brought a certain Toro Rosso right back up into the mix, and while that was going on, TRL Martin actually closed up on Surprise Me, so this might turn into another four-way battle for the lead. And again, Limitless only 2 seconds off that, so he could get involved if they start battling even more.
Great stuff there from the Flying Finn defending from Evo. That was superb. I love watching that. It shows you how much respect are shown between the drivers at the top end of the field. In fact, the drivers throughout the field, to be fair. But yeah, that was absolutely awesome. And you were spot on about Evo. He was running in lean fuel all the way through this section of track on the previous lap. He's actually going into Rich this time round. I think he's feeling a little bit desperate. He doesn't want Flying Finn's scampering away, pardon me. He's going to try and keep him at arm's length. And look at that, just easing onto the back of that Mercedes. And is he having a look at the bus stop? He's having a look and no more. But yeah, he's got some serious straight line speed, doesn't he? It's almost effortless how easy it was for him to pull alongside on that previous lap, Justin. And I think he'll be odds on to do the same again.
Yeah, it's looking... I mean, we said that Spa is a track that promotes overtaking, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Multiple changes of position for the lead, which really isn't something we've seen a whole lot of in Season 15, or at least it's been a while, it feels, since we've seen this kind of back and forth between them. It's about 4/10 between the Mercedes and the Ferrari as they climb the hill through Eau Rouge and onto the Kemmel Straight. DRS activated for NLR Evo, a quarter of a second between the two of them. He's closing pretty massively now. Once again, the Mercedes goes defensive into Lacombe, and around the outside goes NLR Evo, but again, just can't quite make it work with the Flying Finn, able to hold a little bit more speed with that inside line, and then of course he gets the inside line into this right-hander before coming onto this medium length straight as well too, so he just seems to really have it figured out, and unfortunately I think Evo's going to have to think of something else. I don't expect we'll get any sort of lap traffic, so I don't think we're going to get a Hakkinen-Schumacher moment or anything like that, unfortunately. But he's going to have to get a little creative, I think, here, because it really seems like the Flying Finn is saying, I've seen your one trick, it's not going to work a second time.
Well, that's something I think is fair to say throughout the season with Evo. I mean, sometimes he finds it, well, I said it in the last race, he's been staring at the back of a Mercedes for the majority of the season. Last week it was Soch, this week it's the Flying Finn. So, I mean, yeah, maybe he does need to be more creative in a general sense, not just on this occasion, but at all times. Maybe a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more do or die. We've seen flashes of it though last week in Hungary, didn't we, Justin? So,
we did.
Is he going to provide us with some of that today? He's closing in on the back of the Flying Finn again on lap 13 out of 22. I don't see how the Flying Finn is going to be able to open out any sort of commanding gap at the moment, Justin. He doesn't seem to have any sort of straight line speed, so he's going to have to be looking in his mirrors for the majority of the race. So down into La Source they go again. Evo locking up, nearly clipping the back of that Mercedes, and that would have been damaging for his hopes of victory. Meanwhile, Surprise is only half a second behind, so if anything was to happen, he will be just rubbing his hands with glee and picking up the points. But at the moment, Evo is closer than he's been in the previous few laps. He's right behind the Flying Finn, and look how easy this is, pulling alongside the DRS Active, and the Ferrari, the prancing horse, is going to gallop past back into the lead of this ding-dong race, Justin. It has been a thriller so far, and look at that. Surprise Me says, okay, I fancy getting involved in this. Brilliant race.
Yeah, the Toro Rosso is well and truly involved in this battle now. Interesting, though, Martin has kind of fallen off the back of it just outside of DRS range on this battle, but of course, these guys will continue to battle. That much is for sure. It looks like Joe and Danny M7 losing some positions there. Not sure what's going on there. Oh gosh, there is an intense... If you can keep an eye on the lead and let me know if anything happens. I just want to look a little bit further back, see if we can find out what's going on for, again, these lower...
Martin's off the road. Martin's off the road as soon as we cut away from the lead back. I don't know what happened there. Martin off at Pujon, and he's lost the position to Limitless. So Martin dropping down to 5th position. He was way off the road at Pujon, no idea why, and Limitless snatches 4th position. So a bit of a shame there for Martin. No idea, just caught the tail end of it, Justin. But Martin, down to 5th place.
That's exactly what I was talking about with Pujon, and that's one of the reasons I love it as a corner, because you don't really need to do much to make it safe, because when you run out wide, it's already asphalt, so you grip up, but you lose immense amounts of time. It's still a very, very punishing corner, as Martin has now found out, so it's unfortunate for him, but again, it's just part of what I love about Pujon. You just get that little bit wrong, you run a little bit wide, the curb just sucks you out, and then you're gone. And there's nothing you can do. Lockdown continues to defend from OMG. It's Joe. Continue to keep an eye on that lead battle if you don't mind, Andy.
Finn's in trouble here. Surprise me is all over him, Justin. And here we go. The Flying Finn no longer fighting for the victory at the moment. He's going to have to defend from the Toro Rosso. This is unusual territory for Finn. Surprise me round the outside. He tries, but he can't quite do it. And Finn clings on. But this is really turning into a thrilling scrap for the victory. Finn under pressure, Justin.
Yeah, this is really surprising stuff. Really enjoying this, and I think we could see Limitless get involved. It was more than 3 seconds, the gap. It's now down to 2.7, and Martin is right behind Limitless as well, too. So certainly if the Flying Finn and Surprise continue battling, if they start battling with Evo, all of that is just going to bring those guys even closer. It's almost 6 seconds from Martin down to Rosberg, so I don't think we're going to see a 6 or 7-way scrap or anything like that, but something tells me with 7 laps still to go in this Belgian Grand Prix that we could easily see a 5-way battle for the lead of this race. Let's take a look back down once again, just a little bit further down. It looks like Lockdown has extended the gap a bit to Joe, and they've also extended the gap to Pinecone a little bit. So a bit further down, it looks like that's kind of settled down that battle for the final points-paying positions. Let's move back up at the front, on board with the Flying Finn as he's less than 4 tenths and tucked into the slipstream behind NLR Evo. Can't quite get alongside, but he's tucked right underneath the gearbox of that Ferrari, and he will, of course, get the benefit of DRS down the start-finish straight. You can just see the Ferrari of Limitless being followed by the Force India of Martin in the background there, just lurking in the background, waiting for anything, and I do mean anything, to go on between these three, because it is less than 3 seconds down to Limitless and Martin.
Surprise has got another run here on the Flying Finn. He just seems to get a great run out of the La Source, and once again Finn, focusing on Evo, now needs to switch his attention into his mirrors to a charging Toro Rosso, but on the previous lap he was able to defend no problem. Surprise doesn't seem to have the straight line speed that Evo does, and that's what's saving Finn at the moment, and Finn clings on to second. Surprise me simply doesn't have the straight line speed that we saw from Evo earlier in the race, and he remains in third. But to be honest, any one of these three could win it, Justin, and I am absolutely loving it.
Martin as well got very close to the back of Limitless at the end of the Kemmel Straight with the benefit of DRS, but wasn't quite able to get alongside. I think it was just a couple of tenths. Pinecone picking up a position on Sam. No, they're actually battling side by side, the two of them, through the Lake Holmes section, on board with Morso, who has a great view of it. Wow, he went really wide off the track there to try and open up that corner. They're still very close, nose to tail, as they begin to descend the hill from the highest point of the circuit, and on the run down towards No Name and down towards Pujon. Again, just keeping an eye on the gaps up at the front, but it looks like Sam is going to move ahead of Pinecone. Pinecone now down to 12th, a couple positions outside of the points. That's got to be frustrating. Again, this weekend started so well for the Haas driver, and in fact, now he's got EVR Morso onto the back of him. I didn't even notice when Leopard and Gouge Crab DNF'd. I completely missed when that happened, but that's got to be frustrating for Leopard, who had a fantastic weekend last week, if I remember correctly, but it looks like Pinecone might be relegated down to 13th position. It's very close at the front, though. Let me go on board with those guys. Oh, the Flying Finn nearly taking out the Ferrari as they head into La Source, but again, it looks like the Toro Rosso is actually the one that's going to be on the attack here, Andy.
And at the third lap in a row, surprised me, piling the pressure on the Flying Finn. But as we keep saying, he doesn't seem to have that straight line speed. Mind you, he's closer than he's been. Is this the moment he's going to pull alongside him? Look at that tactic from Evo. He's moving across the hill. Some slipstream there. Wow, that just shows you how these drivers think. So clever from Evo, so wise. He moves across to stop Flying Finn getting the slipstream and hand it to Surprise. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. But that's hilarious. That's just brilliant, isn't it?
That is incredible. I think, yeah, that shows the level of competitiveness of AOR. I mean, of sim racing esports in general these days. I mean, there's just so many aliens out there these days. I mean, just look how close it is. It's barely more than a second separating the top three. And again, Limitless is nearly involved in this. It's now 2.4 seconds down to the other Ferrari of Limitless, who has actually broken the DRS on the Force India of Martin, who's now 1.3 seconds adrift of that Ferrari. It's two Ferraris in the top four, though. I imagine the Flying Finn right now in second position, not leading this race, is going to be pretty frustrated with that, but also with his brother not being here, not able to score any points for Mercedes. Of course, the Teams Championship is secondary to all of these drivers, just as it is in the real Formula 1 and in motorsport in general, but it is still important to these guys, and this is going to be a big haul of points for Ferrari if they finish as they are. But of course, we finished lap 17, 5 laps still to go in this Belgian Grand Prix, and with how close it is, I'm not prepared to try and predict any sort of winner here.
Well, I'm usually the one to stick my neck out and try, and anytime I've done it, I've just tried to say that Flying Finn wouldn't win, and he has. But this time, I am saying that Evo is going to win this for the reason that his straight line speed is that much better than the Flying Finn. I just cannot see how Finn's going to get him. Finn has got to look at Surprise more than he does at Evo, and it's been proved again for what is that, the 4th or 5th successive lap Surprise may have been gaining on him, but once again not close enough. I just can't see how Evo, other than if he makes a mistake, is going to relinquish this lead. I think Finn is going to have to worry about Surprise me, and also to add to that, Evo, he's trying his best to stop Finn getting a slipstream and giving it to Finn's rival, Surprise. So it's so many tactics going on in a race, and it's great to see between them. Also, quick word on Limitless, he's having a great race. This is probably his strongest race of the season.
Martin.
In Canada. As Martin gets a penalty. Oh dear, 3 seconds, that's not what you want to be doing. So it's a shame for him, and that's going to, thankfully for him, he's still got a 6.3 second cushion, Justin, to Rosberg, so that might not affect him. But Limitless, yeah, but quite back to him, having a great run at the moment, and I think he was 4th, or was he 3rd, back in Spain as well. That was his other good performance this season. 4th position, yeah, it was 4th. It was Silverstone, sorry, he was 4th. So, yeah, certainly improvements for Limitless as well.
3 second time penalty for LGS, currently bringing up the rear, but not that far off of Pinecone, so he's still in a position where he can gain spots in this race. The Flying Finn is noticeably closer to NLR Evo than he has been really at any point during this race. This is about as close as it's been. I'm on board with Surprise, who just barely got DRS. He no longer has that incredible view. Oh, the Flying Finn with a terrible run out of La Source. This could be exactly what Evo needed, and exactly what Surprise Me needed as well, too. On the run down the hill through Eau Rouge, and it looks like the Toro Rosso is very aggressive. Oh, he's off the circuit, actually. He's had to lift, actually, and that's going to lose him some time significantly. I believe Limitless might start to close in. 2.3 seconds now between Limitless and the Toro Rosso, and no overtakes attempts. And crucially here, Evo is now more than a second away from the Flying Finn. He needs an incredible lap right now. The Flying Finn currently with 0.9 laps of fuel still to go. Evo with 0.8 laps of fuel. So Evo just, again, marginally less fuel on board compared to the reigning champion of the Flying Finn, who again has won the last 14 races in a row. Will we finally see somebody else at the top step of the podium? I really hope so. At this point, I am really pulling for Evo.
That was 2 chances disappearing in one go there. Finn had 1 chance on Evo. He tapped him in turn 1 at La Source, and then he fell a second behind Evo, and that gave Surprise his only chance of the race. Finn didn't have the DRS going through the Kemmel Straight, and if Surprise Me didn't make that error at the top of Radion, he would have been past the Flying Finn. So 2 chances, 1 for Finn on Evo, gone, and then Surprise's chance on Finn, gone as well. That was the moment the race could have changed shape, but it hasn't happened, and now Evo is in as strong a place as he's been all race long, and Limitless gaining quickly as well as these guys get a little bit messy.
Yeah, that's who I'm on board with right now. It has kind of stabilized at about 2.3. I have to imagine it is just tantalizingly close for Limitless as he starts the 20th lap. There's just 3 laps remaining in this Belgian Grand Prix, just under 3 laps remaining for the Ferrari driver. What can he do? Can he get any closer to the Flying Finn and surprise me? Can the Flying Finn get back within DRS range of Evo? We're not really sure, but one thing is for sure, there's 2 Ferraris involved in this battle, 2 Ferrari protagonists, and it looks like Surprise, even with the DRS, lost time to the Flying Finn down the Camel Straight that time. He's now just more than a second outside of the Flying Finn. I don't know if any of the viewers noticed. I think it was last lap that I was on board with Surprise. We were running behind the Flying Finn, heading into the Lake Holme section at the end of the Camel Straight. And the amount of speed that the Flying Finn carried through that section was ridiculous. He simultaneously gained 2/10 on Evo and pulled 2/10 away from Surprise just in the space of like 2 corners. And there was other things going on. We didn't really get to talk about it, but I saw it and I was in shock with how much he gained and pulled away all in the space of just a couple of corners. It was really incredible to see. Coming to the end of lap 20 though, just 2 laps remaining, and Evo is still more than a second ahead here, Andy.
He's looking good, isn't he? I mean, that also, as you say there, Justin, that just kind of sums up why Finn might not have the straight line speed. He's quicker in the corners, and that just proves the setup is maybe set up for those corners in that middle sector, because as you say, he gained a couple of tenths in just a couple of corners, and clearly enjoying himself in the corners, but not in a straight line. And yep, it surprised me, he did drop off on that lap there, going down the Camel Straight again. The second successive lap, he was out of shape going through Eau Rouge corner, so that is why he's not there. But if he can just close in on the Flying Finn over the course of this lap, he still has an opportunity, because an over 1 second gap to the Flying Finn, and Finn will not have DRS to defend from Surprise Me, so he still has an opportunity. But as the laps tick by and the miles disappear, it's beginning to look like an unlikely scenario where Surprise Me can attack Finn. But Evo looking strong, looking very strong, but I don't want to put a curse on him. I've done it before and I'm not doing it again, so we'll keep his fingers crossed for him.
Don't you put that evil on him. The Toro Rosso of Surprise did pick up the DRS on the Flying Finn and was able to close in about a 1/10.5 on the Mercedes on the run down the Camel Straight on the 21st lap. White flag this time by as they finish the penultimate lap of this Belgian Grand Prix for Season 15 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 Leagues on the Xbox platform. And it's still about 2 and a bit seconds between Limitless and Surprise, so I don't think Limitless is going to feature on the podium. Just as I say that, he dips to less than 2 seconds behind. But speaking of dipping, the Flying Finn has actually gotten within 1 second of Evo. I'm not sure if there's been some sort of mistake, but it was about 1.2 seconds at the start of this lap. It's now dipped down to about 9/10. At this rate, the Flying Finn will pick up the DRS on the start-finish straight. Whether or not he picks up the DRS on the Camel Straight is really the more important one of the two. But of course, the DRS on the start-finish straight will help him. It will aid him in that quest to get the DRS on the all-important Camel Straight. He's pretty far back though as they come onto the start-finish straight. It looked like a really good exit out of the final corner for Evo. He's built about an 9/10 gap between the two of them as they start the final lap of this race. I think Evo has done what he needs to do here, Andy.
I think he has. Evo looking good, but of course he cannot just lie on that. He needs to make sure that he's got a big enough gap exiting Paul Frere corner down towards Brock Blanchimont at the end of this lap to make absolutely sure that he's done the job on the Flying Finn, because we know that Finn can just pull a rabbit out of a hat at any moment. But it looks to me like that long, illustrious 14-race streak could be coming to an end. Just a few miles left for NLR Evo, and down at Ferrari in the grandstands, the Ferrari fans are ready to get excited. And yep, is Evo going to end that streak? The German driver looks like he's on course to do it, Justin. And is there a man in the field more deserving than him? It's hard to argue against.
No, there is nobody more deserving than Evo. I certainly would be a heretic to say otherwise. Evo has been there every single race. I mean, the consistency on this guy has just been incredible, and we've talked about it throughout the season. We've been very consistent about consistently talking about how consistent Evo is. I mean, that much is consistent with Season 15. It's just the way that he is, and finally, it's actually worked out for him. All it took was really a track that is easier to overtake at, and then, you know, you get the overtake attempts at the end of the Kemmel Straight into the bus stop chicane, all those kinds of places, but then you get parts of the circuit where you can break away, and that is exactly what Evo did. He broke the DRS multiple times. He was faster than NLR, he was faster than the Flying Finn, and Evo picks up the win. Incredible stuff. He finally breaks the record of the Flying Finn. It's going to be 14 wins in a row. That is now the new record. Sorry, Noble 2909, but the Flying Finn has absolutely smashed that record, and it was 7 in each season, interestingly enough. So it was 7 wins last season, 7 wins this season to make an even 14. That is going to be the record. That is going to be the new record for everyone to beat for who knows how many years to come.
Yeah, well, there you go, the Flying Finn. All good things must come to an end, but yeah, they're just incredible. Absolutely incredible record from him. 14 races, as you say, 7 this season, 7 last season. And finally as well, Justin, not only that, someone other than the Sutton brothers have won a race. Look at that.
Yep. Truly.
Well, finally ends up. What was that run? What was that run for the two brothers? It must have been about 17 races or something, was it not?
Yeah, 14, 15, and then I think it was 3, so 18 races, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody could go on the ApexOnlineRacing.com website and double-check that if you want, but I believe as brothers, they have 18 wins in a row, which is nearly a full-length season. Which is, I mean, that's domination that I've never even fathomed. You know, nobody could have even expected that one. But it is the race win for Evo. So deserved. Less than a second between him and the Flying Finn. And you wouldn't want it any other way because it's been so close between the two of them when the Flying Finn wins. So you would expect it to be the exact same sort of situation when Evo wins. And he does finally get that win and breaks the Flying Finn's streak of 14 wins in a row. Surprised me again on the podium. What else can you say about this kid? Not old enough to participate in the F1 esports, but he's old enough for AOR, and he continues to get another podium. Limitless, again, though, just outside the podium positions for Limitless, but he was there. So I think a lot of positives to be taken, especially if he was on wheel today. I'm not prepared to try and say whether or not he was on wheel or controller, but certainly if he was on the wheel today, then wow. That was actually really impressive. Even if he was on the controller, it was impressive. Because, again, he was just a couple seconds away from that battle for the lead.
Good job from Limitless, definitely. Really starting to improve in recent races. You know, we saw, obviously, that minor hiccup where he was out in the opening lap in that last race at Hungary. But certainly, as we saw in Silverstone, and we've now seen here, the last 2 races he has finished, he has, of course, delivered with a strong result. So things starting to take shape for Limitless. Good job from him, but we can't take anything away from that superb performance from NLR Evo. He shows what he's made of, shows what he's capable of, and takes that victory to end that enormous streak.
Yeah, I mean,
anyone for interview? No, sorry, carry on.
No, it doesn't look like. We'll keep an eye on that and see if we do. But yeah, I mean, we knew he was gonna. I mean, what are we gonna say, that Evo isn't good enough to win a race in AOR? Oh, that's rich. We always knew that Evo was a race winner. We always knew that he had the speed to be a race winner. It just really hasn't gone that way for him so far this season. But it finally did come together for the Ferrari driver today in Belgium. And it looks like we actually have him with us. Huge congratulations on that one, Evo. I was saying, I thought you'd be the one to finally break Finn's streak, and you've gone and done it by really not much, less than a second between you guys at the end.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. I really don't know. I wasn't feeling well today, the last few days, and I turned up here and thought I would take any place in the points, and then this race happened. I'm just out of words.
Well, I mean, I think we were just about out of words as well, too, because, again, you know, it's been a long run for the Flying Finn, picked up a lot of wins. And I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I said I had a feeling about today. I thought today might be the day where the Flying Finn can't get that win. And I think, in my opinion, just, you know, as a spectator, you can clarify this for me, but from a spectator's point of view, it really just seemed, you know, that Spa promoted that overtaking, you know, the long straights, the high speeds, you're able to go side by side, you're able to do that battling. Is that really what it boiled down to in the end, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's easier to follow someone in the first and the last sector, but in the middle sector, you really have to give it everything. You have to get close and then be right up the heck, I don't know what the word is, behind someone to overtake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to set them up for, and actually I said that specifically while you guys are racing. I said that overtake took you about a lap, almost a full lap, to complete on Finn when you did finally get that overtake on him. It took a while to set up. You know, it was a long time coming, but in the end, you were able to get there and get that overtake. And you seemed, once you got into the lead, we were expecting, honestly, a little bit more, you know, maybe side by side, back and forth between the two of you. Did you just have that little bit higher top speed to keep him behind?
That is a good question. I don't know which, what rings Sully ran, but I think he was closing in. I think we ran about the same wings, so when it's equal, it's even harder to overtake, you know?
Right.
Reading here, actually, that the Flying Finn's tweeted saying that the game had taken away the DRS from me, the DRS failure. So that's apparently what he said.
Ouch.
So there you go. You had one as well, Evo. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Codemasters. Thank you.
I had the same issue.
Yeah, I know that can happen. We tend to miss it. I don't know if it's just that we don't get notification of it as spectator when we do, you know, because as commentators we're spectators, obviously. So I don't know if the game actually tells us when the DRS breaks for you guys, but certainly I've never noticed it when it happens. You kind of cut out there, Evo, for a sec.
Yeah, you only can see it on the
if you're the driver.
On the right, I don't know.
Oh, I see. Like on the display, gotcha. On the steering wheel,
yeah.
maybe. Gotcha. Yeah, I almost never look at the display on the steering wheel. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Finn if his DRS broke, because certainly this is one of the tracks where you want the DRS the most, other than maybe Monza, some other tracks like that. But
sure.
yeah, that was a fantastic battle. We really enjoyed that one, and again, we can't wish you enough congrats, Evo, on that win. We thought it would be you to break the streak, and yeah, we couldn't be happier for you. Any closing words, Andy?
I'm just glad to see that someone other than the Flying Finn has won a race. I mean, that's nothing against the Flying Finn. I just think it just answers a few questions. You know, a lot of people say that the Flying Finn at times has it easy, but that today and the race last week as well, for example, shows
so close.
That he doesn't have it easy at all. It's extremely tight, and big congratulations to Evo. Superb job in getting the victory. You really deserve that. If there's anyone in the field that deserves to win with your consistency, it's you, Evo. So congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Yep, and the Flying Finn has actually tweeted out his congratulations as well too. So oh, is he? Oh, there he is. Yeah, oh, Finn's with us. Congratulations. You didn't win, but, you know, that's still second place. And also, that was a really good race. We did see your tweet about the DRS breaking, which is, I mean, I can only imagine how frustrating that has to be at a circuit like Spa.
Yeah, it was quite funny. I was actually laughing on the straight because I couldn't believe it. But...
Right. I mean, what else could you do? You know, laugh or cry.
Literally, yeah. Because, I mean, the problem wasn't catching Evo, not gaining much on Evo. The problem was surprise all over me every time. It was either DRS and slipstream, but I don't have slipstream. So, yeah, it was hectic trying to defend the LFM and still trying to keep the gap to Evo. But, yeah, the pace, I think, was pretty solid from us three. And it was going to come down to who was smarter, pretty much, with the slipstream and DRS. I think if I had DRS, we could have been could have been much closer, but nonetheless, I could have not called it how it would have gone because it was so close. One lap it was me going past Cedric, and one lap he was going past me. So yeah, it was Mickey Mouse, but yeah, I enjoyed it and just gutted to have that. But yeah, nonetheless, congrats to Evo because you know he's deserved this, and yeah, it's been a long time coming for him, and to be able to win now is amazing. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good starting point for him, and we'll see what happens from now on.
It was a great race, too. I mean, I have to say that was probably one of the best races of the season. I think we say that every race where Andy and I are both agreeing that it was one of the best of the season. But that was up there just because of how close it was for the lead. And I think even the top 5 with Martin and Limitless, not that far off, you guys. The top 5 at many points were separated by less than 7 seconds, less than 6 seconds, less than 5 seconds even at points. So it was really, really close for the top 5 even, which really kept things interesting because, of course, if you guys started battling even more, so if your DRS had been working and you had battled Evo even more, then, you know, that might have brought Limitless and Martin into it more. So, you know, I think it was always going to be close, but in the end, Evo coming out on top. So congratulations to both you guys just for, again, a fantastic race. And Andy as well, thank you for joining me for another fantastic race here on AOR.
It was great, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute cracker. Are we having a week break now for Canada? I believe we are, aren't we? For the Grand Prix.
Yeah, we're all going on vacation. We're all taking a week off. Big AOR party. No, we're all going to be watching the Canadian Grand Prix, obviously. So, yeah, no race next week, but make sure you guys tune in the following week after that, where we will have round 9 of this 15 race season. We're now more than halfway through into the season, and the Flying Finn has 7 wins, with Evo picking up 1 right at the end of the second half, or the first half there. So we will see what happens later on in the season. Again, no race next week, so we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you then.